Roman Renaissance. Hitler heads south to harden his pact of softening steel. From the Brenner Pass, which links Germany and Italy through the Alps, his official train races to Rome for a high meeting of state. The Fuhrer controls all Europe, but after 4 years of war, his Axis partner, Italy, has sunk to the status of a satellite. Italy's dictator, Mussolini, and Italy's king, Victor Emmanuel III, greet their German overlord. All Rome is on dress parade. But behind the props of the black-shirted fascists, it is the brown-shirted Nazis who call the tune. Grandeur that was Rome, debased, mocked, to make an Axis holiday. After 2 decades of dictatorship, Mussolini's regime still retains its outward flamboyance and flashes a gaudy front to the world. But the foundations of fascism are crumbling. Its days are numbered. This is the twilight of an era. Across the blue waters of the Mediterranean, on the hot sands of newly won North Africa, Allied commanders dream, plan, perfect the design which will bring the Axis to its knees and bring Allied soldiers to the continent of Europe. Sicily is the stepping stone. General Montgomery will command the British troops, General Patton the Americans. The greatest convoy yet organized, almost 3,000 ships and landing craft, from ports stretched all the way east to Suez, all the way west to Gibraltar, will deliver the punch on which hangs the fate of the Italian Empire. In July 1943, the convoy puts to sea under the scrutiny of His Majesty, King George VI. 160,000 Allied soldiers move toward Sicily. No enemy action challenges the passage of the ships, but another and more awful hazard intervenes. In the path of the smooth-sailing convoy, a storm is making up. Unseasonable, unpredictable, threatening weather. It is too late to turn back. Land-loving troops sail into the tempest. convoy and its men weather the storm. Sicily, ancient fortress, forgotten kingdom, rugged island separated by a mere 2 to 12-mile strip of water from the Italian mainland. But it takes 6 weeks of vigorous fighting before Sicily falls, and the last prisoners from the broken ranks of the Axis call it quits. Weather, ignore man's war. Again, nature lashes the Allied sailors, this time carrying Axis prisoners back to North Africa. Allied ships may founder, but of greater significance, fascism itself has foundered. From Genoa, from Spezia, the Italian fleet sails to its demise, sails to the island of Malta, to surrender. The long, cruel naval battle for the Mediterranean is over. Tiny Malta, which has endured the worst of Axis lashings, ironically becomes the scene of Axis dissolution. It is September 1943. Italy signs an armistice. Mussolini has fallen. His successor, Field Marshal Badoglio, brings Italy over to the Allied side. But if the Axis is broken, the dominant half remains intact. The Germans turn Italy into an occupied country. Mussolini and his fascists are now the slaves of Hitler and his Nazis. From France and from the Balkans, the Germans send fresh troops into their new province of Italy. Their high command has calculated correctly. The next Allied blow will fall in the Gulf of Salerno, 185 miles northeast of Sicily, on the Italian coast. The attack comes, and the Germans are waiting. September 9th, 1943, exactly 4 years after the beginning of World War II. The United States Fifth Army and the British 10th Corps hit the Italian mainland, knocked the first hole into the fortress of Europe. Salerno is only 40 miles south of Naples, the greatest port in southern Europe. That is what the Allies are after. But first they must slug it out with the Germans. The Gulf of Salerno becomes the Gulf of Despair. Give close, continuous support to the soldiers. The invasion becomes a duel of cannon. Guns afloat against guns ashore. The German Luftwaffe throws everything it has against the invaders, hoping to smash the landings and pin down the Allies south of Naples. The beachhead, the Italian campaign, hovers in the balance. German propaganda blankets the world with the news that the invaders are being thrown into the sea. But the flow of Allied men and supplies continues in the face of a new, fearsome weapon used by the Germans for the first time, the remote-controlled glider bomb. Is added the protecting cloak of destroyers' smoke screens. Survival on the beachhead rests on survival of the ships that support it. The landing ship's tanks, the LSTs, are formally christened in action, in fire. They are destined to become an integral part of all future amphibious operations. The Germans launched their crucial counterattack, delivered with all the skill and fury that have made Hitler's legions the terror of Europe. The Allies are almost split in two, almost driven off the beaches. Almost. October the 1st, 1943. Naples. The Germans have failed. The Germans fall back to the north. The Allies have their port. A city reeling from air raids, ravaged by typhus, ricketed from hunger. But for the Neapolitans, defeat means peace. For the troops, Naples is only a way station on the weary march to Rome. Vedi Napoli e poi muori. See Naples and die. It is an old saying, but war has given it a new and bitter meaning. Thousands have died for the harbor of Naples, and the Germans have systematically, ruthlessly, thoroughly ruined it, sinking every ship, blocking every channel. But such as it is, the Allies have it. One of the greatest salvage feats in the annals of war is performed by Allied engineers in the Bay of Naples. Within a fortnight, the harbor is operating. Within a month, 50 hulks are raised and the port is clear. Clear to receive the avalanche of supplies needed to sustain and broaden the Italian campaign. Naples is the reward for the ordeal of Salerno. Pile up. But inland, at Cassino, the Germans stand entrenched, immovable, and the campaign becomes a bloody, futile stalemate. Checked on land, the Allies counter with a sweeping flank attack by sea. From Naples and Salerno, a convoy sails 120 miles up the coast to Anzio, only 30 miles south of Rome itself. The Americans call it an end run. The British call it a cat claw. 50,000 troops are put ashore behind the flabbergasted Germans. January 22nd, 1944. The initial landings are unopposed, but Allied success is checked by Allied error. Instead of swift exploitation and immediate breakout, the invaders dig in, giving the Germans time to rally their defenses, time to isolate, imprison the beachhead in a perimeter of steel. The hell of Salerno pales before Anzio's inferno. From captured bases at Foggia, Allied airmen fly to the rescue of their frantic comrades at sea and on land. Sailors and soldiers whose blood holds Anzio. And from the Balkans, the Germans bring in more planes to slaughter the precarious invaders. Anzio, intended as a swift, decisive stroke to open the road to Rome. Anzio, in reality, 123 days of incessant carnage. A long-drawn nightmare. It was January when the Allies landed at Anzio. It is May when the Germans collapse. 3 crack Nazi divisions have been destroyed. 30,000 young men are lost to Hitler. In from the coast and up from the south, the Allied armies stream together, forming a swelling, flowing tide whose billows are lashed by victory. The march begins. The march to Rome. Destruction is the benediction of fascism, of dictatorship. In Italy, Hitler has been compelled to squander and disperse his forces, weakening his Russian front, sapping the strength needed to oppose impending Allied landings in France. The price paid by the Allies on the Italian front today will be refunded in France and Russia tomorrow. And Mussolini? He and his age pass into history. Northward flee the Germans, northward to turn and fight again. But Rome is free, free again.